The signal arrived on a Tuesday. Dr. Sarah Chen had reviewed the data 3 times before she allowed herself to believe what she was seeing. The pattern was unmistakable, a perfect mathematical sequence repeating every 12 seconds, originating from a point near the Carina Nebula. It wasn't random noise, solar interference, or equipment malfunction. This was a message. Director Matthews needs to see this, she whispered to herself, her fingers already flying across the holographic interface to compile the data. That SETI research station on Uraba had been operational for 15 years, scanning the cosmos for signs of intelligent life. Now, on her watch, they had finally found something. The signal's complexity increased with each passing hour. Simple prime numbers gave way to geometric sequences, then to what appeared to be spatial coordinates. But it was the final piece, a repeating pattern that matched the molecular structure of human DNA, that sent shockwaves through Earth's scientific community. Within days, a coalition of Earth's spacefaring nations assembled. The coordinates pointed to an artificial structure floating in deep space, hidden within an asteroid field that had shielded it from Earth's telescopes for centuries. Humanity faced its first major decision as a spacefaring species: investigate or ignore. The choice was made for them when similar signals began appearing across Earth's solar system, each one more urgent than the last. The message was clear. Someone or something wanted humanity's attention. The ISV Prometheus, Earth's most advanced deep space vessel, departed 6 months later. Its crew of 12 represented the finest minds humanity had to offer: scientists, linguists, military personnel, and first contact specialists. Dr. Chen, whose initial discovery had started it all, served as the mission's chief xenolinguist. As they approached the coordinates, the crew's initial excitement gave way to awe. The structure wasn't simply a space station. It was a library, a museum, and a warning system all in one. Its alien architecture defied conventional physics, with sections that seemed to fold into impossible geometries. The station's automated systems activated upon their arrival, creating an atmosphere compatible with human life. Inside, they found a repository of knowledge left behind by a species that called themselves the Archivists. Through interactive holograms, the Archivists revealed why they had chosen to contact humanity. The galaxy was changing. A force known as the Nexus Collective had emerged from the depths of space, systematically destroying civilizations they deemed evolutionary dead ends. The Archivists had seen this pattern before. The collective would observe a species, judge their potential, and if found wanting, erase them from existence. But humanity was different. The Archivists' predictive models had identified something unique in human beings, an adaptability and resilience that set them apart. In humanity, they saw the potential for a species that could stand against the coming storm. The station contained more than warnings. The Archivists had left behind technological insights that would advance human civilization by centuries: clean energy systems, advanced propulsion technology, and medical breakthroughs that would transform human society. But these gifts came with a price: the responsibility to use them wisely. As Dr. Chen studied the Archivists' final messages, she discovered something troubling. The collective wasn't simply destroying civilizations. They were harvesting them, absorbing their knowledge and technology while erasing their existence. And according to the station's long-range sensors, they were methodically working their way toward Earth's sector of space. The crew spent 3 months documenting everything they could. Each discovery led to more questions, but one thing became increasingly clear: humanity needed to prepare. The Archivists hadn't chosen Earth by chance. Something in human nature, perhaps their combination of innovation, compassion, and determination, had convinced these ancient observers that humanity might succeed where others had failed. As the Prometheus began its journey home, carrying terabytes of data and technologies that would reshape human civilization, Dr. Chen made one final discovery. Hidden in the station's deepest databases was a message meant specifically for humans. We chose you because you understand something the collective never will, that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. The galaxy needs guardians who can balance power with mercy, justice with compassion. We believe humanity can be those guardians. Do not prove us wrong. The return journey to Earth was filled with both hope and apprehension. Humanity had sought proof they weren't alone in the universe. Instead, they had found a legacy to preserve and a duty to fulfill. The real question wasn't whether humanity would rise to the challenge, but how they would do so while maintaining the very qualities that had made them worthy of the Archivist's trust. As the Prometheus approached Earth's orbit, its crew knew they carried more than just revolutionary technology and dire warnings. They carried the weight of a choice. Would humanity become the guardians the Archivists hoped for, or would they fall into the same patterns of destruction they were meant to prevent? The signal that had arrived on a Tuesday had changed everything. Humanity's time of isolation was over. The stars were calling, and they demanded an answer. 10 years after the Prometheus' return, humanity had changed more than anyone could have predicted. The Archivist's technology had transformed Earth into a thriving interstellar civilization. Clean fusion reactors powered cities across the solar system, while quantum communication networks connected colonies from Mars to Europa. But it was the development of the web drive, based on the Archivist's propulsion theories, that truly opened the stars to human exploration. Admiral James Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the ESS Hyperion, Earth's newest flagship, watching the swirling colors of hyperspace through the observation window. His vessel represented the pinnacle of human engineering combined with Archivist insights, a perfect fusion of two civilizations' knowledge. But today, his thoughts weren't on technological marvels. Signal from the Centauri outpost confirmed. Admiral, Lieutenant Park reported, her voice tight with concern. It's happening again, just like Proxima b. The crew fell silent. 3 months ago, they had witnessed the aftermath of the collective's work on Proxima b, the peaceful Lumini civilization that had inhabited that world for millennia had vanished overnight. No weapons fire, no signs of battle, just empty cities and databases stripped of all information. Show me, Rodriguez ordered. The holographic display sprang to life, showing the Centauri system's third planet. The Meridae, a species of crystalline beings who had welcomed human contact with open arms, had established their largest colony there. Now, their cities stood silent. Life sign scans. Rodriguez asked, though he already knew the answer. None, sir, but the pattern matches Proxima b exactly. Their quantum cores have been extracted, along with all their cultural and scientific data. It's like they were archived. The Admiral's jaw tightened. The collective wasn't just destroying civilizations. They were collecting them, preserving what they deemed valuable, while erasing the species themselves from existence. It was genocide disguised as preservation. A priority communication from Earth Command interrupted his thoughts. Dr. Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression grave. In the decade since the Prometheus mission, she had become Earth's foremost expert on the Archivist's legacy. James, we've decoded more of the Archivist's predictions, she said without preamble. The collective. They're not random in their choices. They're following a pattern, testing species before they strike. The Meridae were a test. A test for what? For us. The collective studies how species react to the destruction of their allies. They're gauging our response, trying to determine if we're worth preserving or eliminating. Rodriguez felt a chill run down his spine. The Hyperion sensors had detected collective scout ships at the edge of human space, always watching, always analyzing. They were being evaluated, just as the Archivists had warned. The Meridae trusted us, he said quietly. They shared their technology, their culture. They were helping us establish colonies in their sector. That's exactly why they were chosen, Chen replied. The collective believes that species who form strong alliances are potential threats to their vision of controlled evolution. They're not just testing our technology, James. They're testing our humanity. The bridge crew listened in silence as Chen continued. We've discovered something else in the archivist's data. The collective doesn't just want to preserve knowledge. They believe they're creating a perfect galaxy by removing what they see as evolutionary dead ends. In their view, compassion is weakness, cooperation is inefficient. And what do they consider strength? Rodriguez asked. The ability to stand alone, to survive without allies or aid. They believe true evolutionary success means needing no one else. The irony wasn't lost on Rodriguez. Humanity's greatest strengths, their ability to form connections, to learn from others, to build bridges between different species, were exactly what the collective saw as weaknesses. A new alert flashed across the tactical display. 3 more Merida colonies had gone silent. The collective was methodically erasing their existence, preserving their knowledge while destroying everything that made them unique. Earth Command is expanding the Sentinel program, Chen said. We're establishing hidden outposts throughout Allied space, creating safe havens for species the collective might target. But James, we can't save everyone. Rodriguez studied the star map, noting the pattern of extinctions spreading across their sector of space. The collective was moving with purpose, each extinction calculating, measured. They were sending a message: adapt or die, stand alone or be erased. Maybe we're not supposed to save everyone, he replied slowly. Maybe we're supposed to show them a different way. He turned to his crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that he felt in his heart. Humanity had spent its history learning to overcome divisions, to build bridges instead of walls. They had learned the hard way that true strength came from unity, not isolation. Send word to Earth Command, he ordered. The Hyperion will begin evacuating the remaining Merida colonies immediately, and dispatch a message to all human outposts. We're implementing Protocol Sanctuary. Chen's eyebrows rose. Protocol Sanctuary hasn't been approved by the Council yet. Then they can court-martial me later. I won't stand by and watch another species vanish because we were too cautious to act. As the Hyperion prepared for its rescue mission, Rodriguez couldn't help but wonder if this was exactly what the archivists had seen in humanity, not just the ability to fight, but the unwillingness to abandon those in need, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The collective believed that needing others was weakness. Humanity was about to show them just how wrong they were. The Earth Defense Council chamber hummed with tension as holographic displays showed the latest intelligence reports. 16 species had vanished in the past month alone, their civilizations reduced to empty ruins and stripped databases. The collective's pattern was accelerating, and humanity's window for preparation was closing. Ambassador Marcus Walsh stood before the assembled leaders, his weathered face illuminated by the tactical displays. The collective has established a presence in the Orion Spur, he reported. They're no longer hiding their movements. Their scout ships openly scan our outposts, our colonies, our research stations. And yet they haven't attacked. General Sarah Chen, former lead Dr. Chen, interjected. The years since the Prometheus mission had seen her transition from xenolinguist to military strategist. They're still watching, still evaluating. Which gives us time, Walsh responded. Time we desperately need. The council chamber's displays shifted, showing the network of sanctuaries humanity had established throughout their sector. Hidden bases built into asteroids, underground colonies on seemingly uninhabited worlds, and space stations disguised as debris fields, all serving as refuges for species fleeing the collective's advance. Operation Haven has successfully relocated 60% of the Meridae survivors, Walsh continued. The Lumini remnants have established a new colony in the Europa deep-sea habitats, and the Talari have integrated well with our Mars settlements. But at what cost? Councillor Zhao demanded. Every species we shelter increases the likelihood of collective retaliation. We're painting a target on Earth. The target was already there, Chen countered. The archivists chose us because they knew we wouldn't stand idle while others were destroyed. The moment we accepted their legacy, We accepted this responsibility. The debate was interrupted by a priority alert. A new hologram materialized in the chamber center, a massive vessel of unfamiliar design, its hull adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. First direct contact. Walsh breathed. The collective is hailing Earth. The chamber fell silent as the transmission began. The being that appeared was both beautiful and unsettling, a creature of pure energy contained within a crystalline form, its voice resonating with harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. "Children of Earth," it began, its words translated by the archivist technology. "We are the architects of evolution, the guardians of progress. We have watched your development with great interest." Chen's hand tightened on her chair's armrest. This was the moment they had prepared for, the conversation that would either buy them time or trigger immediate conflict. "Your species shows remarkable potential," the collective entity continued. "Your adaptability, your technological growth, they are impressive. But you maintain primitive attachments to lesser species, embracing weakness instead of strength. We offer you a choice. Stand aside as we cleanse your sector of evolutionary dead ends, and we will spare Earth. Resist, and you will share their fate." Walsh stepped forward, his diplomatic training evident in every measured word. "We appreciate your assessment of our potential," he replied. "Humanity has indeed come far in a short time, but we disagree on the nature of strength. The species you call lesser have enriched our civilization, taught us new ways of thinking, helped us grow. We will not abandon them." The collective being's form flickered with what might have been amusement. "Your loyalty is misplaced. These species you protect, they will hold you back, prevent you from achieving your true potential. Evolution demands isolation. Only through standing alone can a species truly advance." "Then you fundamentally misunderstand evolution," Chen interrupted, rising from her seat. "On Earth, the most successful species are those that form symbiotic relationships, that adapt to work together. Isolation doesn't breed strength, it breeds stagnation." The chamber's atmosphere grew heavy as the collective being processed their response. When it spoke again, its harmonics had shifted to a lower, more threatening frequency. "You choose to stand with the weak. This is disappointing, but not unexpected. The archivist's influence has corrupted your judgment. You will be given time to reconsider. When we return, you will either step aside or be removed." The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in tense silence. "How long?" Walsh asked quietly. Chen consulted the data streams flowing through her neural interface. Based on their previous patterns, 3 months. They always give species time to witness the consequences of defiance before striking. The council erupted in urgent discussion, but Walsh's voice cut through the chaos. "Then we have 3 months to prepare our response. Not just militarily, but philosophically. We need to prove that our way, cooperation, unity, mutual growth, is stronger than their doctrine of isolation." "And if we're wrong?" Counselor Zhao asked. "If they're right about evolution demanding isolation." Chen's response was firm. "Then we'll still fight. Not because we know we're right, but because we choose to believe in a galaxy where different species can grow together, learn from each other, become more than they could be alone. That's worth fighting for." The council chamber's displays shifted again, showing the vast network of alliances humanity had built. Each point of light represented not just a species they had sworn to protect, but a different perspective on the universe, a unique way of thinking that made the galaxy richer. "Begin full mobilization," Walsh ordered. "But do it our way. I want every ship, every station, every colony equipped not just for defense, but for preservation. We're not just fighting against the collective's vision of the galaxy, we're fighting for our vision of it." As the council session ended, Chen lingered in the chamber, studying the tactical displays. The collective had given them 3 months, thinking it would give humanity time to witness their power and choose submission. Instead, they had given humanity time to prepare, to strengthen their alliances, and to prove that their greatest strength lay in the very connections the collective sought to sever. The lines were drawn. The next 3 months would determine not just humanity's fate, but the fate of every species that had chosen to stand with them. The galaxy was about to learn whether cooperation truly was stronger than isolation. The collective didn't wait 3 months. On a quiet morning, just 6 weeks after their ultimatum, they struck Haven Station, humanity's largest medical research facility in the Outer Rim. The station had been housing thousands of refugees from dozens of species, all receiving treatment for conditions their own medical science couldn't cure. It was a symbol of everything humanity stood for: healing, cooperation, and the sharing of knowledge. The attack came without warning. 3 collective vessels emerged from hyperspace, their crystalline hulls pulsing with energy that overwhelmed Haven's early warning systems. Within minutes, the station's outer defenses were breached. Dr. Maya Patel, Haven's chief medical officer, had only moments to make a decision that would change the course of the coming war. As emergency alerts blared through the station's corridors, she activated Protocol Phoenix, a contingency plan that no one had ever expected to use. All personnel, initiate emergency evacuation procedures. Her voice echoed through the station's communication system. Priority 1. Patient preservation. Enact the Hippocratic Protocol. We stand our ground. The collective forces that breached Haven's airlocks expected to find chaos, panic, and submission. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in their long history of conquest: medical staff who refused to abandon their patients, researchers who destroyed their own work rather than let it fall into collective hands, and human security forces who fought with a fury that seemed to defy logic. Admiral Rodriguez, monitoring the situation from the Hyperion, received Dr. Patel's final transmission. They won't take our patients. They won't take our research. Let the galaxy know what happened here. Let them know we chose to stay. The collective's attack on Haven lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it was over, the station was heavily damaged, but something extraordinary had occurred. Not a single patient had been lost. The medical staff had succeeded in evacuating every refugee through Haven's secret emergency transport network, a system designed specifically for this scenario. The cost was devastating. 342 human medical personnel had sacrificed themselves to ensure their patients' survival. Their last acts were not of violence, but of healing and protection. The news reached Earth within hours. The response was immediate and unprecedented. Across human space, military vessels broke formation, civilian ships altered course, and colonies mobilized. This wasn't just an attack on a military target. It was an assault on everything humanity held sacred. In the Earth Defense Council chamber, Ambassador Walsh stood before the assembled leaders, his voice raw with emotion. The collective believed attacking Haven would demonstrate our weakness. Instead, they've revealed their own. They fundamentally misunderstand what makes humanity dangerous. General Chen's tactical displays showed the movement of collective forces still positioned near the ruins of Haven. They're confused, she reported. Their sensors show minimal casualties among the refugee population. They can't comprehend why our medical personnel would sacrifice themselves for other species. Because they see compassion as weakness, Walsh replied. They don't understand that it's our greatest strength. Haven's staff didn't die fighting. They died saving lives. That's humanity at its core. We don't just survive. We ensure others survive with us. The Council's debate was interrupted by reports from across human space. Ships were breaking quarantine protocols, ignoring stand-down orders, and converging on rally points. The collective's attack had awakened something that even humanity's own leadership hadn't fully appreciated. Captain Sarah Martinez of the medical frigate Asclepius sent a message that would be repeated across hundreds of vessels. Haven Station saved my daughter when no one else could. They didn't care that she was half Meride. They just saw a child who needed help. I'm not waiting for orders. We're going hunting. The collective had made a fatal miscalculation. They had assumed that humanity's compassion, their willingness to help others, was a sign of weakness. They didn't understand that this same compassion, when turned to righteous fury, would make humanity the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Admiral Rodriguez's fleet, already en route to Haven, received new orders from Earth Command. They were simple, direct, and unprecedented in human military history. "The gloves are off. Show them why you don't attack doctors." The Hyperion's tactical officer, Lieutenant Park, reported an unusual reading. "Sir, I'm detecting quantum signatures. Hundreds of them. Ships are dropping out of hyperspace all around us." Rodriguez watched as the tactical display filled with friendly signatures. Vessels of every type, military, civilian, medical, were converging on Haven. Many weren't even human ships. The Meriday crystalline cruisers, Lumini light runners, and Talari war barges had all answered humanity's call. "The collective wanted to show us the cost of helping others," Rodriguez said quietly. "Instead, they're about to learn the cost of harming those under human protection." As the combined fleet assembled, the collective vessels near Haven maintained their position, seemingly uncertain how to respond to this unprecedented gathering. They had expected humanity to retreat, to recognize the futility of protecting lesser species. Instead, they had united not just humanity, but every species that had experienced human compassion. The battle that followed would be remembered not just for its tactical brilliance, but for what it represented. Humanity wasn't fighting for territory or resources or even revenge. They were fighting to protect the very principle that the collective had tried to destroy. The idea that different species could help each other, learn from each other, and become stronger together. The collective was about to learn that they had not just attacked a medical station. They had attacked an idea. And ideas, protected by human determination and fueled by human compassion, were more powerful than any weapon in the galaxy. The battle above Haven Station had been merely the beginning. In the months that followed, humanity revealed why the archivists had chosen them as guardians of the galaxy. It wasn't their military might or technological advancement that made them formidable. It was their ability to unite diverse species into something greater than the sum of their parts. The collective's forces encountered something they had never seen in their millennia of conquest, a defense that adapted not through isolation, but through cooperation. Each species brought unique strengths to the alliance. The crystalline Meriday enhanced human shields with their resonance technology. Lumini light manipulation techniques combined with human stealth systems created vessels that could bend reality itself. Kalari bioengineering merged with human medical science to create healing technologies that could save lives even in the heat of battle. Admiral Rodriguez stood on the Hyperion's bridge, watching as the combined fleet executed their most ambitious operation yet. "Operation Unity is go," he announced. "All ships, commence Phase 1. The fleet didn't just fight as separate units. They moved as one organism, each species complementing the others. Meriday ships formed crystalline barriers that human vessels used as hyperspace anchor points. Lumini craft bent light around Talari warships, making their biological weapons appear to strike from impossible angles. The collective's response was telling. Their ships began to break formation, their usual perfect synchronization disrupted by tactics they couldn't predict. They had never faced an enemy that could think in so many different ways simultaneously. "They're adapting," Lieutenant Park reported from her tactical station. "But their adaptations are limited. They can only respond to one species' tactics at a time. Because they've never had to think like this." General Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge. "They've spent millennia promoting isolation, forcing species to evolve separately. They don't know how to handle genuine cooperation." The tide turned not through overwhelming force, but through thousands of small innovations born from different species working together. Human medical ships, protected by Meriday crystals, darted through the battlefield healing allies. Talari organic computers, enhanced by human quantum processors, predicted and countered collective strategies before they could form. But the true breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Maya Patel, one of the few survivors from Haven Station, had spent her last moments sending a detailed scan of the collective vessel's crystalline structure. Her final gift proved invaluable. Their ships, she had written, aren't just vessels. They're repositories. Each one contains the accumulated knowledge of species they've erased. They're not destroying civilizations. They're absorbing them. And that's their weakness. The combined fleet's next strike targeted not the collective's weapons or shields, but the very essence of their ships. Human quantum beams, filtered through Merida crystals and focused by Lumini light bending, began to resonate with the stored knowledge within the collective vessels. The effect was immediate and devastating. The compressed data of thousands of civilizations began to wake up, their stored patterns creating interference within the collected ships. The vessel's crystalline structures, designed to contain and suppress this knowledge, started to fracture. They're receiving transmissions, Park announced, wonder in her voice. The stored species, they're reaching out to each other. The collective's greatest weapon, their library of absorbed civilizations, had become their undoing. The combined knowledge of species they had tried to erase was overwhelming their control systems. Their ships began to shut down, their perfect formations disintegrating. Ambassador Walsh's voice came through the command channel. We're receiving a signal from the collective flagship. They're requesting dialogue. The being that appeared on the Hyperion's screen was different from the one they had first encountered. Its crystalline form was fractured, its energy patterns chaotic. When it spoke, its voice carried not just its own harmonics, but echoes of thousands of others. You have done the impossible, it said. You have proven that evolution can advance through unity rather than isolation. Our fundamental assumption was flawed. Rodriguez stepped forward. Then surrender. End this war. Let us help you find a better way. Help us. The collective being's form flickered. We have destroyed countless civilizations. We have erased entire species from existence. Why would you offer help? Because that's what humanity does, Rodriguez replied. We heal. We build. We bring people together, even those who once were enemies. The terms of surrender that followed were unprecedented in galactic history. The collective agreed to release the stored knowledge of every species they had absorbed. In return, humanity and their allies would help them learn a new way of existence, one based on cooperation rather than absorption. The work of restoration began immediately. Human scientists worked with Merida crystallographers to safely extract the stored civilizations. Lumini light shapers created new homes for species that had been thought lost forever. Telari bioengineers helped restore biological diversity to worlds the collective had sterilized. 1 year after the surrender, the Earth Defense Council gathered to review their progress. The galaxy was transforming. Former collective vessels, now repurposed as restoration ships, traveled to dead worlds, bringing life back to planets that had known only silence for millennia. The archivists chose well, General Chen remarked, watching the restoration feeds. They knew we wouldn't just fight the collective, we would try to heal them. Ambassador Walsh nodded. That's the true victory. Not that we won the war, but that we ended it in a way that made the galaxy better, not worse. The final report from Haven Station, recovered from its ruins, had contained a simple message that became humanity's guiding principle in the years that followed. The greatest strength isn't in standing alone, but in helping others stand with you. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Evolution didn't demand isolation. It thrived on connection. And humanity, the species that had proven this truth, continued to reach out across the stars, healing, building, and uniting, one world at a time. The archivist's legacy had been fulfilled, not through war, but through humanity's greatest gift, the ability to turn enemies into allies, and allies into family. The stars echoed not with the sound of battle, but with the harmony of countless species working together, growing together, becoming more than any of them could have been alone. It was a new age for the galaxy, born not from the strength of one species standing alone, but from the power of many standing together.